The rate at which we are losing our identity as a country is serious, and initiatives like this are very much welcome. For some parents have decided that they won't even name their children. They won't give their children English names also. So they try to use the local names and all, which at least helps with the identity issue of the country. Now you go to some cultures. I have been researching for a long time among the Tabon. I don't know if you know that in Ghana we have a group of people called the Tabon. They are descendants of Afro-Brazilians who have come to live here for well over 200 years now. And one thing that has held them is their music and their culture. But currently, those who talk about the culture, those who project the music are all elderly. And when you go and you ask about the young ones, they are not interested in anything like that. And so the question arises that in the near future, when the elders are no more there, does that mean that group is dead? So if we don't consciously inculcate in our youth the importance of holding on to our culture, I'm afraid for the country in some years to come. Where will Ghana, especially with music, where will Ghanaian music be? There are lots of fusions, borrowing here and there and mixing it in such a way that now the authentic is missing, and it's like putting mixing some cultures and making some more than the other. And so you realize that the Ghanaian culture is in the minority amongst a lot of the youth. And I think that if we are not intentional about some of these things, then this is where we will head towards.
Okay, second and final question. I mean, you talked about music and too much fusions going on. I mean, looking at contemporary music today, people feel like, there's still like touches of African culture in our music. Then there's Afro pop and Afro beats and all that. I mean, some will be argued like, okay, it's not that much different from the foreign music. But still, people would also argue that there's still African touch of culture in it. Do you feel like that's the case, or we're actually losing our identity?
Yeah, so that, as I said, how much of African elements are in the music as against how much of foreign elements? So if the balance is more African than foreign, then you can still situate the music in Africanness. But if the tilt is more foreign influences than the local ones, then you can see the balance. Now it's rather becoming more Western than more African. But of course, we can't, since we live in a global village, we can't say that we will not borrow from here and there. We will borrow. Some people also borrow from us. But when we borrow, what do? Do we allow the borrowing to be more than what we have? That's the questions we should ask. We should borrow to just add some spice to what we are doing, but not to come and cover everything that we are doing. So I think that initiatives like this, should be encouraged everywhere in the country, so that our young ones would be able to hold the identity of Ghana in the near future. Wherever they go, let's speak Ghana, talk Ghana, walk Ghana, everything Ghana, and I'm sure that we would. In those days, in the early days when high life music was music, anywhere you go and you mention high life, everybody calls Ghana. But now, all the high lives are fused with other things, other elements. So it's very difficult to be able to tell what even Ghanaian music is now, which we should all be intentional to raise this awareness amongst our young ones.